there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. My name is Kyle, and Wednesday Whimsy is a short show that I do every Wednesday evening. I'm not sure why my hat looks a little crooked. Where I talk about a board game, a top 10, or some other board game related topic that happens to be on my mind. Well, in the past, I have done my top 100 games. I've talked about my best two-player games, and there's a game that frequently makes both of those lists, and that game is Seven Wonders Duel. Well, folks, there's a new game out, a re-implementation of Seven Wonders Duel. It was released, I guess, at Essen very recently, but it's out in the U.S. In fact, it came out just last weekend. It arrived, and I am very excited to have it. That game is Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. There we go. It's Lord of the Rings Duel is how I've been referring to it, since that's easier to remember than all of the random subtitle stuff. But basically, this game is a re-implementation of Seven Wonders Duel. It takes a lot of the same sort of mechanisms, and it repackages them slightly. It puts a little bit of a thin veneer of theme from the Lord of the Rings on there, new artwork, and then kind of lets you just have at it. So we'll talk about it today. So what is it about? Well, one person is the Fellowship of the Ring, and one person is the evil forces of Skeletor, Sauron, and you're fighting, and somebody's going to win. That's kind of what it's about. The theme, honestly, is pretty shallow here, but it's all right. It works, right? I mean, it'll grab the people who like that theme, and hopefully won't repel the people who don't. So, there you have it. But yeah, you're basically dueling to control Middle Earth and win for your side glory and fame. So how does it work? Well, if you have played Seven Wonders Duel, you know a good 90% of this game. It's really very much not. I won't say it's the same game. It's right, but it shares a significant amount of DNA. Let's just say you could definitely mistake one for the other in a lineup. So let me show you a little bit about the game. We'll show you some pictures. But basically, the game is going to consist largely of selecting cards from a structure. This is the round 3 structure, but there's sort of a pyramid, a regular pyramid for round 1 and a reverse pyramid for round 2, something like that. And on your turn, you're going to select one of the cards that is face up and not underneath anything, so an available card. In many cases, there will be a cost. Like you can see, there are some symbols, there's some fists, and a shadow thing, and 2 hearts on this card. It's going to be blurry, unfortunately, because it looks like it was a blurry picture. But there's some symbols, and if you have those symbols, you can take the card. The symbols are obtained from these gray cards over here, and so you'll see, there's one heart thingy there. There's a fist, but we can't. This card only gives one of those, so maybe this isn't the right thing. Anytime you're missing a symbol, you can simply pay 1 coin for it. You pay a coin, you get the symbol for that turn, so you can buy as many as you need. Then you're going to take the card, you're going to add it to your little tableau over here, and once the cards are over here, they don't do a lot more, other than the gray cards, which obviously, as I mentioned, stack symbols, and these green cards, which are one of the ways to win the game. The different cards are going to do different things. For example, let me see if I can back out and show something a little bit more clear. These blue cards, these are Pursuit of the Ring cards. You can see those are the symbols I was talking about. And when you take them, you're going to be moving on this track here. So the evil forces have this little piece. You can kind of see it. It's this guy on a horse. And it's going to be moving along this plastic thing. And then when the forces of good advance, they're just going to move the whole plastic frame. And in that way, no one is ever getting away from each other. They're only ever going to get closer together. But the ultimate goal of the fellowship player is to make it to the end and destroy the ring. and the goal of the shadow player is to catch the hobbits that are holding the ring. So that's one of the ways to win. You advance with those blue cards with that ring symbol, and eventually, if you do it enough, then you'll win the game. There's also bonuses that you'll uncover as you move along that track. Red cards are going to sort of implicate this board over here, and I'm wondering if I can find a slightly better version of this board in a picture, perhaps. Because that board is another kind of way that you're winning the game. Nope, looks like the answer is no. Oh, maybe this one. Okay, well, this is definitely pasted up and giant, but there are 7 regions, and when you take one of those red cards, it's going to let you place a soldier in one of 2 regions. As soon as you have presence in all 7 regions, you win the game. Now, soldiers, there can only ever be 1 soldier of each type in a region. So, for example, if the yellow player wanted to come in here, well, their first soldier is just going to knock out one of the gray ones. So they'd actually need 4 soldiers even to make it in there. So that's kind of what the red cards do, and that's another way to win. We also have, let's go back to these green cards. The green cards are kind of like the green cards in Wonders Duel, basically, but they are going to allow you they're recruiting the forces of Middle-earth or whatever, and as soon as you have 2 of the same type, so 2 pipes, for example, you're going to draw tokens from this pipe stack, and you're going to choose one to keep. And they're going to be sort of ongoing benefits and bonuses, or the gray ones give you one-time bonuses. As soon as you have 3 different symbols, one time in the game, you're able to take one token from each pile and also choose one. So it's a little easier to get them. And as soon as you have all 6 symbols, and there's actually 7, a 7th one is hidden in one of these, but as soon as you have 6 different symbols, you just win the game. So that's kind of another thing you're doing. And yeah, the gray cards give you stuff, and purple cards just kind of mess with your opponent. They're going to take out their soldiers or take away their coins, and yellow cards give you money. Unlike Seven Wonders Duel, in this one, already mentioned that symbols you buy always cost 1 coin. Also, yellow cards, in old Seven Wonders Duel, you would buy a yellow card, and that'd be great, but when you threw away a card, because something you can do on your turn is throw away a card for money, you would get a bonus based upon the number of yellow cards you had. That's no longer the case. You just get a flat 1 coin in round 1, 2 coins in round 2, or 3 coins in round 3, unless you have a bonus from something. And you can also, these strongholds are kind of like the wonders in the old game. There's going to be 3 of them available every round, and it's not, per player, it's just 3. And instead of buying something else on your turn, you can spend the resources here, plus 1 more coin for every tower you've already built, and take one of these that's available, and then you're going to put your tower out. Now, the tower is another way to have presence on this board, and the tower never is, you can both occupy the same space because the tower doesn't interfere with soldiers. So that's a way to kind of get somewhere. If you're able to get the stronghold of a place where your opponent's really fortified, that's kind of a way to get in there. So you're just basically going to do that. You're going to buy 1 card on your turn. Sometimes you'll get a bonus turn or a bonus action from something. You're going to do what the card says, or you're going to throw the card away, or you're not going to touch a card and just buy one of these strongholds. Once somebody wins the game, which again can happen by catching, by sort of reaching your goal on this ring track, or by having presence in all 7 regions, or by having all 6 of 7 different symbols, you just win the game. Otherwise, at the end of round 3, you're going to see who's in the most areas out here, and that person's going to win. That sounds, I've never had a game come down to that. That sounds like a disappointing end. But that is how the game works. So what makes the game special? Well, I mean, the gameplay here is that same great gameplay that you may already love from Seven Wonders Duel. It is fast, it is simple. The cards and the symbols in this version are actually, they're better than the Seven Wonders Duel ones. And the reason for that is, 1, they're bigger. The old Seven Wonders Duel cards were those tiny little, Hobbit cards that were so difficult to shuffle, and they showed a lot of wear because there really wasn't a way to shuffle them well. I don't even honestly know why companies make those cards anymore. They're terrible. These new ones are bigger. They're not sort of full-sized cards, but they're a small size, but I guess they're about that big, kind of a half-size card. But they're big enough that you can shuffle them. You can riffle shuffle them. You can handle them. They don't feel terrible. Also, the symbols are a lot cleaner in this. In old Seven Wonders Duel, there were lots of the yellow cards that had kind of their own weird symbols on them, and then there were, you had to kind of look them up or know what they did. And this, that's been streamlined. All of the yellow cards kind of do the same thing, and any of the weird special abilities come from those tokens, which, when it comes time to learn what they are, you can pull out the sheet and see what they do. So simple gameplay, and some of the aspects have been really cleaned up and streamlined. What else makes it special? I like that there's a couple different ways to win. There's 3 real ways to win and 1 boring way, which is to be in the most areas at the end of the game. It's kind of like I failed to win, but I guess I did better than you. But I like, I've played the game a couple of times now, and I've seen the ring work. I've seen the armies of the 6 green cards work. And I've almost seen, in both of those cases, the sort of occupying the 7 spaces work. It's always been 1 turn away, usually from that. So I like the 3 different ways to win. They're clear and they're distinct enough that you're not going to confuse them. And you can really focus on one or the other. You can kind of make your decision and say, well, I'm going to go this way or that way. I like that they seem to be very well balanced. Again, like I just mentioned, I've not played a game where someone's had a runaway victory in one or the other. It's always been, okay, you're really going hard on the ring track. I'm going to try and subvert that by going hard on the green symbol track. And I'm also going to menace you in the sort of map track or map area so that you're not able to focus on the ring, and you have to kind of deal with these things, otherwise I'll win. So there's a really nice balance between those. Gameplay's really short. I'm wondering, the box says here 30 minutes. I think that's very generous. I think it's probably about a 15-minute game, maybe 20, especially once you know what you're doing. Because your turn is going to be lightning fast. It's take a card and either throw it away or use it, or if you don't want to, you can buy one of those strongholds and do what it says. Not really a lot to go through. The game slows down just a little bit when someone flips the tokens, or there's a couple of things that let you go through the discard pile, and that can slow things down for a minute or two. But again, the symbols are pretty clean, so it's not a long game at all. I like there's a kind of a high level of strategy in it, right? You feel like your decisions matter, and you feel the pressure throughout the whole game that your opponent's just a short way away from victory. Played it yesterday, for example. I narrowly avoided a trap. I was like, okay, if I take this option, I'll lose the game. So I need to do something else, and I need to erode that situation and find a way to win. Yeah, there's a lot really to like here. Rules are, like I said, simple and very short. The player aid, I wish there were 2, but it's a double-sided sheet, but it's well organized and explains everything pretty well. It doesn't really go over the turn structure, but the turn structure is so simple you hardly need one. It just kind of tells you what all the symbols mean. So where's the but? Well, first of all, and this is for me personally, I'm not in love with the Lord of the Rings. Honestly, if it had not been the connection to Seven Wonders Duel, I probably would have passed on this one. And so if you're someone like me who kind of is not excited by the theme, it might put you off. It might. The artwork, while great, is repeated a lot. So, I mean, like all of the blue cards kind of from an age looked the same. And I wish that, they had done a little bit more to make each card look different. It's not the end of the world, but it would have been a nice touch. Let's see. Another but, and this is, I guess, in comparison to Seven Wonders Duel, where it fails just a little bit, and that is that Seven Wonders Duel has 2 great expansions, and a lot of variety in the different wonders that you're going to have. In Seven Wonders Duel, you have 4 wonders. The other player has 4 wonders, and 7 of them total can be built, and they're going to be different every game. Whereas in this one, the strongholds, there's only 7 of them, and so assuming they all come out, they're going to be the same 7 every game. I guess that can probably be solved in the future by maybe there's some expansions that come out that give you some more, but then it might be a sub in, sub out, which is always annoying, or it could just be that certain areas are easier to get a stronghold in or something. I don't know. I just wish the variety of the wonders is going to be lacking after a little while. Kind of is what it is. And then also, the Seven Wonders Duel had 2 great expansions. Now, they both had way too many symbols and were very difficult to teach for that reason, but once you learned them, I love both of those expansions so much. One added these gods with special abilities, and you could kind of, organize them in such a way, and then it gave you sort of access to more stuff, and you could just buy them with money. The other one gave these sort of Senate chambers and a new way to win if you occupied all the Senate chambers, or if you controlled all the Senate chambers, but they also gave you a special ability when you were in control of them each. And so I kind of missed that. I hated the cards in Seven Wonders Duel. The cards are definitely superior here. And I'll say, as a base game, I think this one is stronger. I think, I'll go back to special, there's so many of those special ability tokens, and it's very easy to get at least one. There's a lot of ways to get one, whereas in old Seven Wonders Duel, there were really only 5, unless, some wonders would let you get access to another one, but you sometimes got one in the course of the game. It was more difficult to get. In this one, there's a couple of ways to get them, and it's going to be an interesting strategic point to sort of figure out what's where and which one you think you want to go for. So, I think that's an area where the game is superior, is with those kind of tracks, but the sort of overall variety is going to go to Duel. It's just Seven Wonders Duel. So, where's my final rating? Like I mentioned, I think this is a stronger base game than Seven Wonders Duel. I think Seven Wonders Duel with its expansions is a stronger game, and the theme is less in a box. I recognize this is a very popular box, and I could be, I'm in the minority of people who aren't huge Lord of the Rings fans, but, it is a box, whereas the Seven Wonders is just history. There's not really a box there. So, but I honestly, if I were playing just the base games, I'd probably pick Lord of the Rings. And if I were playing with someone who knew what they were doing, I would definitely pick Seven Wonders Duel with its expansions. But I really like both games. And Seven Wonders Duel's a 9 for me, and I really don't have any other option but to give this one a 9 as well, because they're largely the same game, right? It's so similar that I would feel very inconsistent if I rated them different. Take it or leave it. Seven Wonders Duel is available on Board Game Arena, and there's an app, so you can try them, with a relatively low barrier to entry. This one, obviously, you'd have to buy the game. It is in a nice, proper-sized box, and there's kind of a storage tray inside here, which isn't amazing, but it at least is an attempt to help you keep things organized. But yeah, this is a good game. You'll like it if you like Seven Wonders Duel. If you don't, if you've never played Seven Wonders Duel and the Lord of the Rings theme speaks to you, it's a good place to start. If you haven't and you're wondering if you'll like it, try Seven Wonders Duel first. Try that on Board Game Arena or on its app, which you can do, again, super cheap or even for free if you know someone who has a subscription. And see if you like it. And if you do, well, this is and you like Lord of the Rings, yeah, go for it. This is a game that will get played a lot because it's short and it's just for 2. And I think it's a really good one. I think you'll like it. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to end it here. I went a little longer than I was supposed to, but that's okay. I will, until next time, I'm going to wish you safe travels and courage when you need it, and I hope to see you back here again next time for another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.